Liebe Leute, es geht weiter mit SUZERAIN und einem Treffen mit dem Verteidigungsminister. Ich bin sehr gespannt. Der Generalstab hat sich getroffen und konferiert. Und wahrscheinlich sind sie sehr unglücklich über das fehlende Budget. I arrived at the cubic building that housed most of the military command that resided in Holzort. The grey and brutalist structure looked daunting. I never liked this building. It always made me feel like I was standing under the concrete foot of a giant getting ready to crush me. It made me feel small and I never quite got used to the feeling even after this many years. At the entrance, I was greeted by Joseph and his military entourage of young officers. Welcome to the Ministry of Defense, Mr. President. Let's go to my office. We walked from corridor to reach the office. On the way, we were met with high-ranking officers as well as privates. Every time one of these soldiers saw me, they stopped and saluted me. When we finally arrived at Joseph's office, his entourage saluted us and left. He closed the door and took a seat. Ja, wo ist Walkenkrüger eigentlich? Es muss um was Ernstes gehen. Vermuten wir jetzt gleich irgendwas? Oder lassen Sie uns anfangen, worum geht's? Also Walkenkrüger ist ja der Chef des Generalstabs. Es muss was Ernstes sein. Ja, wir fragen einfach mal, worum geht's überhaupt? He leaned back and interlocked his hands. The situation with Romberg is getting worse, and our lack of funding in the military means that we would fight for survival in a war scenario. Unsere Soldaten sind besser motiviert, weil wir unser Land verteidigen. Was sind die Optionen, um die Situation zu verbessern? Ich werde sicherstellen, dass es dazu nicht kommt. Also wir wollen nicht noch mehr Geld ins Militär geben. Wir haben es ja nun bewusst das Budget gekürzt. Wir wollen die Krise auf einem diplomatischen Weg lösen, auch wenn es da bisher überhaupt gar keine Optionen zu gab. Ich hoffe, das wird irgendwie möglich sein. Was sind Optionen? Ja, da wird er sagen, wir brauchen Geld und Soldaten und neue Technologie und alles, was man so sich wünscht als General. Unsere Soldaten sind motivierter. Ja. Ich werde sicherstellen, dass es nicht zum Krieg kommt. Oder wollen wir uns anhören? Vielleicht hat er ja mal irgendwie eine andere Option im Hinterkopf. Fragen wir ihn doch mal, was wäre denn nötig, um die Situation zu verbessern? We are making all the necessary preparations, but any substantial military support from other nations would be a welcome deterrent against Romberg. Joseph cleared his throat. Let's move on to our main topic. The mandatory conscription law has become a matter of discussion, and we need to strike a decision whether to keep it or remove it. The facts are that the conscription gives us a large reservist pool that can cover a large front line, but these troops lack the morale and quality to be offensive elements. Ich erinnere mich, er wollte, glaube ich, eine Berufsarmee, ne? My argument would be to remove conscription if our military can stand on its own 2 feet without them. Okay. If we are going to have strong allies, why do we need conscripts? Ja, wir haben aber keine Verbündeten. Und da kommt Walkenkrüger. Oder Kruger. A strong knock on the door was heard and the chief of the armed forces, Walkenkrüger, walked in quickly with a frown. What is the meaning of this? Why haven't I been invited? What's going on? You are overstepping and interrupting a personal meeting between me and the president. Vulcan deliberated the situation. I see what is going on here. I mean no disrespect, but I'm leading the ground operations and I must be informed of any strategic changes. Tja. Wir können ihn zurechtweisen. Verteidigungsminister und der Präsident sind deine Vorgesetzten. Das Militär muss da mit dabei sein. Eigentlich nicht. Die müssen halt Befehle befolgen. Ja, fragen wir ihn doch mal nach seiner Meinung. Now that you're here, what's your opinion on subscription? The matter is rather simple from my point of view. We kept to our traditional army doctrine. It is not devoid of disadvantages. However, at the end of the day, Rumburg has a larger army, air force and navy. Our conscripts will fill the much needed weaknesses we have. Tja, das ist wieder ein spannender Fall. Wollen wir eine Wehrpflichtarmee haben? Oder wollen wir eine Berufsarmee haben? Wehrpflichtarmee bringt einen Reservistinnenpool. Wobei wahrscheinlich wenn ich mir das Land hier so angucke, wahrscheinlich Reservistenpool. Die sind aber natürlich qualitativ schlechter. Würde aber sozusagen Milizen, Guerilla-Widerstand oder sowas gegebenenfalls auch ermöglichen, falls das irgendwie eine Option in diesem Spiel ist. Wir haben Platz für Reservisten. Das ist eine neue Zeit und benötigt eine moderne Armee. Menschenkörper ja, mit Körpern nach einem Problem zu werfen, hat es noch nie gelöst. Diese Doktrin hat jetzt für Jahrzehnte funktioniert. Es gibt keinen Grund, sie zu verändern. Dann schauen wir doch noch mal kurz nach. Also, Josef. Still well respected among the nationalists. He is credited for several major military operations, blah 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 blah. He has been promoting the reformation of the army into a professional rather than a conscripted force. He gave his support to Anton, Rayne and lobbied for major conservative support. Oh. Und Krüger? He was later awarded the White Star. Vulcan was one of the key supporters of Tarkin Sol, also des Diktators, during the 30s and 40s. He became chief of the armed forces in 45, becoming the oldest person to hold that title. Ich meine, die beiden zu spalten, das könnte eigentlich eine gute Sache sein für uns. Die sind beide halt konservativ. Logischerweise hätte ich jetzt fast wieder gesagt, aber weil sie halt aus dieser militärischen Ära, aus der Diktatur halt kommen. Und das würde ja auch bedeuten, dass wir weniger Ausrüstung benötigen und dann mehr unser limitiertes Budget für die Ausrüstung der BerufssoldatInnen einsetzen können, oder nicht? Also, wir brauchen eine moderne Armee. That settles it then. I would ask you to consider. Wir brauchen jeden... Nein, brauchen wir nicht. It's time to have a professional force of willingly enlisted soldiers. Ja, das ist ja auch nochmal so ein Ding. Wir wollen die Leute nicht in den Wehrdienst reinzwingen. Das hat der Charakter ja selber erlebt. Das war nicht seine liebste Zeit. Alright then, we can move on. Let me look over my documents to see if there's anything else of concern. Joseph checked his folder before looking at me. That's about it. I won't take more of your time, sir. Have a good day. I left the Ministry of Defense and returned to the Maroon Palace. Tja. To remove military conscription. Jetzt haben wir einen Mangel an Reservisten. The military has a clear lack of reservists, reducing the recruitment pool during wars. Ja, aber die lösen sich ja nicht alle in Luft auf. Also wir haben doch jetzt noch 1-2 Generationen an Reservistinnen werden wir ja wohl noch haben. Liebe Leute, so schnell geht das auch nicht. Boys to men, not without conscription. Ah, die Konservativen wieder. Sound the death knell for one of Sordlands' proudest traditions. President Anton Rayne has just removed the country's mandatory conscription requirement. We can therefore prepare not only for a smaller army and decreased defense capabilities, but also for future generations of young men who have no idea how to hold a gun or follow marching orders. Wie schade. This newspaper's male staffers remember their time in the army as one of the most cherished formative experiences. It remains to be seen how Sordish boys will develop a sense of national identity and self-determination without it. Die Ärmsten. Der Radical findet das natürlich gut. Freedom. Sordish boys no longer forced to fight. One of Sordland's most backwards traditions has finally been reversed. As of now, young men are freed from their requirement to join the Sordish army upon coming of age. High school boys are rejoicing in their newfound ability to enter university or the career of their choice upon graduating, while military analysts point out that President Rayne's reversal of mandatory conscription will lead to a smaller but more professional army. We are just happy that those many young students who don't align with the government's aims will now no longer be forced to fight for them. Und es gibt einen neuen Frauenmarsch für Gleichheit in der Bildung in Anrika. In the conservative stronghold of Anrika, da gibt es dann weitere Zusammenstöße mit dem Bürgermeisterwetten. Protesters organized by the Sordish League of Women bravely called for gender parity in the classroom. Like us, these women hope that President Rayne will use his time in office to fix Sordland's notoriously sexist public education system and give young girls the university preparation they sorely need, as opposed to housewife training. A small group of counter-protesters was also present but drowned out by the cries for equality. Das sind doch schon mal gute Zeichen. So, wir haben einen Bericht über den Marsch. A group of demonstrators led by the representatives from the Sordish League of Women marched in Anrika calling for gender equality. Okay, das ist quasi der gleiche Bericht. So, wir haben hier in Jen schon wieder Polizeieinsatz gegen die jungen Sorden. Dangerous young Swords members were arrested in a gathering in the local pub of the St. Darth district of Jen, after local intelligence was tipped off by an anonymous source. The raid on the pub resulted in the death of 2 young Swords members and 1 civilian in the gunfight that broke out. Schade, schade. Sehr bedauerlich. Und es gibt einen Bericht vom Generalstab, der hat ein Statement verfasst, eine Erklärung. The General Staff made a statement about the danger of the anti-military stance the current government has taken. The press release highlights that the lack of presidential support for the military is a major concern for the stability and defense of the nation. The staff opposed the reduction of the active field army. Wer hätte es gedacht? Und ein neues Briefing über die Wirtschaftssituation. Ja, ich sehe hier, ein Streifen ist verschwunden. Die Rezession geht weiter, wie es aussieht. The team gathered in Hosort at the Ministry of Economy to conduct an economy overview meeting to go over the current situation. The building was constructed in 1892 by Heron Wold, one of the, if not the most famous architect in Sordland. The building looked simple and elegant, with a few of his signature domes spread out over the roof. Walking through the large bronze doors at the entrance, I was led by 2 assistants upstairs into a meeting room. Everyone stood up as I entered the room, buttoning their suit jackets. "Welcome, Mr. President. Please take your seats." Everyone took their seats. As you all know, today we'll go over our economic status. Let's begin without any further ado. How are we doing in terms of the infrastructure? The success of the first infrastructure project is already showing a positive effect on the economy. Michael started grinning as he leaned forward. Achso, das ist der von dem National Business Council. Thanks to the highway, economic growth is returning to Angland. We are expecting new investments and jobs in the region. Many leaders on the Business Council have praised the logistical improvements. It was a gargantuan effort from our side and the Ministry of Economy. Everyone has contributed greatly. Oder jeder, der sehr geschätzt, wer daran teilgenommen hat. Show that we are on the right path. Positive Ergebnisse zeigen, dass wir auf dem richtigen Weg sind. Wir können noch viel mehr tun, um die Bildung zu die Wirtschaft zu stärken. Und das werden wir auch tun, denn unsere Arbeit ist noch lange nicht vorbei. You are correct. The subjects of tax reform and many more await future debate. Ach, schon wieder Steuern. Our trade with other countries increased slightly below our expected growth rate. Ach so, ja, weil die beiden Verhandlungen fehlgeschlagen sind. Das ist also nicht wie erwartet der Gewinn gestiegen. Unfortunately, really. Wir hätten uns besser darauf vorbereiten sollen. We are sorry, Mr. President. David took a sip from his tea. On a side note, consumer spending has decreased further due to a pessimistic mood caused by the issues with our economy. Hä, wir haben denen doch extra Geld geschickt. This is discouraging. Ja, wir sind natürlich zuversichtlich, dass wir das Ganze wenden werden. Good to hear, we will do better. While I agree that our first attempts were not successful, we still might have economic opportunities left. It isn't good for our nation, as the people expected quick solutions. We are running out of time. Simon checked his large dossier. Sadly, our budget reserves don't look good. Ja, -2. We will need to look into whatever we can to increase the budget we have. What can we do about it? I will formulate a plan and present you the next steps. No matter the cost, we will have to increase our economic development rates. Otherwise, I'm sad to say that we will be doomed. We need to use the opportunities we are shown. Trade deals and infrastructure improvements always help. Mr. President, I will be very clear. Simon took off his glasses and put them on the table. He looked at me straight in the eye. You already know this, and I don't want to frighten you, but if we are unable to stop this recession, we are heading towards an economic catastrophe that has never been seen before in Sordland. No, in all of Eastern Mercopa. I can't even begin to imagine how we could survive that. None of us wants to see Sordish people starve while the state is unable to provide for its citizens. Then we need to get to work. Exactly, he put on his glasses. Now, there are a few methods to tackle this recession. We have the potential to take additional debt to flatten the downward turn of the economy. The important factor is that we don't take excessive debt going into the future. I have prepared a few project proposals. There are two main distinctions in between these projects. It's either about continuing our infrastructure improvements or investing in increasing production. If we continue on our infrastructure, that would lift us up to advanced country levels. However, our industrial production suffered and also needs a boost to return to pre-recession levels. There is of course the option to not take any risk related to our budget. The plans for these projects will be finalized soon. For now, I can provide preliminary information. Which one would you like to hear first? Erzähl mal über die Infrastruktur. For infrastructure, we have two projects. One is the Banfi International Airport, the other is the Morna Port. Wo ist Morna? Aha. Banfi Flugplatz oder Hafen in Morna? Banfi is growing at a rapid pace and would benefit highly from an international airport. Much more money to be made there too. The Morna port will boost trade and improve the flow of goods towards Holzort because the Conrad port is too small in capacity and extension is blocked by the Navy headquarters. Weiß ich jetzt nicht. Was ist da die bessere Entscheidung? Gibt's da... Können wir da politisch irgendwie was sehen? Nature protection groups have expressed concerns regarding rampant pollution. Significant industrial town. Naja, die Minenunternehmen sind da angesiedelt. Wissen wir denn, wer da der Bürgermeister ist? Nein. Und Banfi? It shines as the wealthiest city of the Gruni region, receiving more internal migration each year due to an attractive, relaxed lifestyle. Nicknamed the Jewel. Surfing, diving, swimming, theater plays, workshops, cultural festivals. Ja, natürlich, Ich meine, hier gibt es auch schon die Eisenbahn und es gibt den Hafen, der hier rüber transportiert. Warum sollten wir über den Hafen Güter nach Holzort transportieren? Das ergibt für mich irgendwie wenig Sinn. Ich denke, wir werden Banfi über den Flugplatz stärken. Das wird diese sehr schwache Region hoffentlich weiter stärken, indem der Tourismus da auch zunimmt. Banfi could be propelled. It still has yet to reach its full potential. Banfi is rapidly developing and there is much to gain from increasing its connectivity to the world. Imagine all the tourists that would arrive. We must focus on improving the well-being of our worst citizens, and while Morna is no poor city, it very well deserves investments. Womit könnten wir die Produktion erhöhen? For production, we have two projects. One is the Sana Agricultural Zone and the other is the Conrad Industrial City. I see the agricultural zone investment as a higher priority due to the fact that farmers in Bergia were the most hit by the recession. Dana is also much poorer than Conrad. The Conrad Industrial City project has the potential to increase manufacturing in the Great Holzort region by a large amount. Aber wir werden Sana fördern, denn das ist ja auch die blutige Region und die ist in Unruhe und wir wollen ja perspektivisch die Unterstützung der Arbeiterpartei und so weiter, von daher. The recession has hit the farmers of Sana particularly hard. Besides, the agricultural output increase would boost our economy. The investment won't be able to recover the industry there. Conrad, on the other hand, would bring more financial gain. Ja, aber das ist nicht unsere Priorität, Leute. Wir müssen Stabilität schaffen und Stabilität fördert dann Konsum und Konsum fördert die Wirtschaft. Our government has the opportunity to support agriculture and we should take it. It would increase our exports too. I have enough information. Danke. Very well. That covers the subject for today. Gibt es noch mehr Fragen, die ich fragen könnte? Wie stark ist unsere Währung? Currency health was improving post-elections, but has unfortunately stagnated. But there are no losses in comparison to pre-election levels. Inflation has dropped by 2 percentage points. Das ist schon mal gut. Was können wir in Sachen Handelssituation erwarten? Our inability to reach a trade deal has hurt our position as a regional trade partner countries were looking to. This has caused some imports and exports to drop and has led to some worry in the trade center, which makes it harder to find new trade partners. Gut, der Business Council ist mir eigentlich egal. That concludes the meeting. Goodbye. Until next time. See you soon. Bye bye. So, und die Zeitung schreiben. Die Hausfrauen marschieren. Um die sordische Tradition zu verteidigen. As the Swedish League of Women spearheaded a march for so-called education equality in America, a group of self-proclaimed happy housewives led a counter-protest. Their argument is that pulling girls out of handicraft classes and forcing them into science classes alongside boys would be an affront to Swedish tradition, and that co-ed restrooms in schools will be the logical next step. Ja, warum nicht? We at the Hosod Post hope President Rayne will make the sane decision and not fall into the trap of pursuing unnecessary changes in the classrooms. Oh, die Operation Bärenfalle beginnt. President Smolak has declared the start of Operation Bear Trap against the separatist militant group that plagues northern Welen, the Bluish Freedom Front. Rumburg, Agnolia and Lesbia have condemned the mobilization order, citing the war crimes committed during the previous assault against the Bluish people, while Sordland has not made any comments on the matter. Watchtower of Human Rights said that they will be following the developments closely for any infractions on human rights violation. Amid spiking tensions with Agnolia, Valksland increases naval presence. The reports from Eastern Mercopa show 2 Valkslandian aircraft carriers are patrolling the Market Sea around the Helgeland island. A massive show of force amid spiking tensions with Agnolia. Stalport could interpret this as a provocation in the region, says expert on the region. The sudden and simultaneous appearance of 2 carriers accompanied by Navy cruisers, destroyers and aircraft comes as Valksland escalates criticism of Agnolia's increasing control over Helgeland and its increasing forays around the island. Ja, und die sordländische Diplomatie ist leider nicht so toll. The new diplomatic initiative presented by the Foreign Ministry has led to a major disappointment. And President Rayne went to both the capital of Agnolia, Stalport, and the capital of Welen, Wrocławitz, only to come back empty-handed. The meeting with Prime Minister Horton and President Smolak both seemed to have gone negatively, diminishing the chances for closer ties with the 2 countries in a time when Sordland needs more regional ties. This comes as grave news. Okay, es gibt einen neuen Report, ein Bericht aus Usen. Polio. Oh, reports from our border cities indicate that the polio outbreak in Welt has been moving towards Sordlands. Specifically, there has been a sharp increase in cases in rural Usen and nearby villages. Health professionals have been dispatched to curb the infections by quarantining the patients. There are currently 23 active cases. Und da kommt die Pandemie, vor der wir gewarnt wurden. Bericht aus Agnolia. Prime Minister von Horton warned us about the increasing naval presence of Falkland in the Marquand Sea. He showed his wishes to have a stronger naval cooperation with Sordland in the future. Ja, dann nimm doch unsere Handelsangebote an, dann können wir da drüber reden, mein Freund. Ein Megaprojekt steht an, aber das werden wir uns in der nächsten Folge anschauen, liebe Leute. Bis dahin wünsche ich euch wie immer alles Gute und bis dann, euer Jan.